Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to this Atempo web session. And today we are looking at Lina, a new version, Lina-5.2. My name is Nick Crisp. I'm very happy to welcome you all to the session. I know there are quite a few of you connected this afternoon, and thanks for being here. Really appreciate your presence. And let me introduce, first of all, our two speakers today from the Atempo Technical Product Management team. We have Sylvie Margot. Hi, Sylvie.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Damien Mesgar.
Hello.
And Sylvie will be doing a presentation that should last around about 20 minutes. And then Damien, during the presentation, will be doing a short demonstration. So just before I hand over to Sylvie, if you do have any questions during the webinar, you can use the questions tab, and we'll try and answer those questions at the end of the session if we have time. If we don't have time, then we'll obviously get back to you via email, or you can contact us, and you have the email addresses of Sylvie and Damien on the screen right now. We also have a poll. If you look just next to the questions tab, there's a polls tab, which will, at the end of the webinar, give you the chance to give us some feedback on what you thought of the session, and one or two other very, very short questions. We always appreciate getting some feedback from you, our customers and partners. So without further ado, I'll hand over to Sylvie.
Thank you. So I'm happy to be here with you today to discuss the new feature in Lina-5.2. And mostly our main feature for this version was the new agent interface. And for this, Damien will give us a little demo of what it looks like now. The second feature I'm going to talk about is the automatic agent update that should facilitate the upgrade for the new version. Then I'll talk about the enhanced data security and confidentiality. Mainly it's regarding the cross-restore security and confidentiality for machines that are shared between several users. And then I will show you how we redesigned the notification and alert system that concerns the email, how we can handle the email, and also the new notification being sent to users. And finally, I'll also show you what we did in the area of backup configuration and supervision. So new agent interface basically has been the same since we started the product a couple of years back. So we really felt it was time to modernize it and improve the ergonomy of the interface. So we also wanted to use a more modern technology. So we have switched from Java to HTML5, and also one of the thing we wanted to address was to match what we've been doing with other products and also with the Lina administration interface that's already been redesigned. So what we did basically is we changed the icon, we changed the color, we changed the logo, we regrouped windows wherever we could to simplify the interaction with the user, and also we added a dashboard so that the user can see right away what's going on in their with their backup. So right now I'm just going to let Damien take you through a little demo of the new agent interface.
Thank you, Sylvie. So let's take a look on this new agent. Here I have my dashboard with some new tiles. You can see here processing tiles, network activity. You can see tiles about network information or general information. And you can also hover some tiles if you want to see more information here, for example, on the backup. So here on the backup, I have server rules that are defined by my administrator. But I can also add items that are not included in the general strategy. So I can add my own folders to the backup. And I can also exclude folders from the backup. So if I want, for example, to exclude my personal documents, I can set it here, and it will update the strategy. We can see the processing and the network activity updating here on the dashboard. So now let's take an example. If I'm on a folder, I have a critical file, an important file, and I delete it by mistake. If I delete my folder, which is in my general strategy, I can go to my agent and restore it. So here, I just want to restore a file and not a folder. I'm going to look for the folder that included the file. So here it was in my documents. So I select this folder, click next. I can define the file type. I can also set an approximate date and time. And then I can recover my file from here, selecting it. I can also select a version of my file. For example, if I have overwritten it. So here I'm going to set the version 7, for example, if I want to recover an older version of the file. I can overwrite the folder if it exists. I just click restore it. And the restore is starting. And now my restore is complete. My folder is here with my file in it. So very smooth user flow, very easy to handle. You have some more settings if you want. You can define a boost mode if you want to speed up your backup. You have the RPO if you don't want to lose more than 1 minute of work, for example, as I have set here. And you have the ability to define your identity. So if you set an email here, and an administrator can do it for you too. You can set an email, because if you lose your laptop, for example, and you want to do a web restore, you need this email to restore all your files on your new laptop. So here it is for this new agent, very easy to handle, as I said. And I let Sylvie continues with some more amazing features.
Thank you, Damien. So, as I mentioned earlier, so we added to this new version the automatic agent update. So, of course, this is new with version 5.2, but it will only take effect for the next update, of course, after from 5.2 to the following version. For this coming version, unfortunately, you still have to do it the old way, if I may say so. So the idea between that was to simplify the update procedure, and also to enable the admin to push updates without having to ask users to do anything, because oftentimes the administrator doesn't have the hand on the user's machine, of course, so it can be difficult for him or her to make sure that everybody does their update. So this won't be a problem anymore. So this is still using the URL mechanism that was already previously working, but now the user doesn't have to click on any button or be the administrator on his machine, so it's much simpler. So on the admin side, you still have to copy all the binaries that you want to push on your web server and make sure that the address is entered in the admin console. And on the agent side, the user will see a little blue rectangle there telling him that there is a new version. So if he wants just to refresh his screen to see all the new features from the new version. In the area of data security and confidentiality, so the first thing we did was to create token for the cross-restore in order to have a more secured cross-restore. Because if you remember before, you had a single password for the entire server. So now this is going to be much simpler and also more secure, since the administrator is going to be able to create a token that will be specific to one or two or more agents, and also that will have an expiration date. So, and then this token is going to be sent to the user, and the user will be able to do the cross-restore only for the agent and the duration that are being specified in the token. This token will also be useful for the BMR restore. It is the same token that's going to be sent to someone that wants to do the BMR, and in that, with that method, then the agent that's going to be restored is going to appear. There will be no more scrolling through the whole list of agents. It will go straight to the agents that are designated in the token. So there's a new window then in the admin interface to allow the admin to create the token and to send the token by mail. And also the tokens can be created via the API. Okay, also for, as I mentioned before, for machines that are used by several users, there was always an issue with the confidentiality, because one user could browse through the backup from the other user. So we created this new feature where the admin can check an option, and what happens then is that the user cannot browse outside of their user directory in the agent. So basically the administrator is going to check an option in the strategy to limit the browse and search. And when the user is going to connect on his user interface, it's going to be played directly in their user on their home directory. Another feature also that's going to improve the security and confidentiality is we are now allowing to do the web restore on the data port. Before, the web restore was by default using the same port as the administration console, which was not always very secure. So nowadays, they will be able to send all the web restore requests on the data port. So same, you have something, a parameter to define in the admin console that will allow this to happen. Concerning the notification and alerts, so the first thing we did was to deal with the email issue, because as you remember, perhaps the email had to be set on the user side in the identity field that Damien showed earlier, but the administrator had no way of changing or even filling the email if it wasn't done by the user. This was really a problem, because without the email, it was not possible to do web restore, or even more so, to receive notification. So what we did is we allowed now the administrator to enter the email in the administration interface. It's via the information in the agent form on the administration console. And you have to know that if the administrator fills in the email, then it cannot be changed on the agent side. So having this email checked is going to be very useful, because now we can send notification to the end user to let them know, for instance, that their machine is not protected for whatever days, how many days we want them to be aware. And also, we can send notification to administrator as well. And you can choose to whom you want to send the notification, either admin side or user side. And they are not the same type of notification, obviously, because the user is only going to receive notifications that are concerning their machine, whereas the admin is going to see all the notifications for all agents. So there is a little configuration to do admin side to decide, first of all, if we want or not to send email notification, and at what time of the day, because the notifications are going to be sent once a day to the user. We don't want to spam your mailbox. So it's only once a day, but you can choose at what time of day it will be. Now, concerning the backup, configuration, and supervision, we added a few features that are going to make your life easier, we hope. So now you can set a retention on the destination of the replication. This will allow you to have a different retention on the primary and secondary server, which can be useful if you want to keep, for instance, the data longer on the secondary server and free some space on your primary server. So what can happen is when you create your strategy, so when you create a replication, you will be able to enter the retention period for the primary and for the secondary, and you can set different time for both. Another way we try to make your life easier is to allow the copy of the complete tenant configuration. This way, if you have a tenant that for which the configuration is really perfect for your use, then you can just duplicate that configuration in one shot. So you're going to copy the strategies, the protection zone and protection rules, the file categories, and also the user's profile in one single shot from tenant to tenant. So what we did is we just added a button in the tenant view that very explicitly says copy current configuration to other tenants. Finally, we also added a feature that's going to enable the administrator to redirect the logs from the server to a syslog server. So in that way, if an administrator is already using a syslog type logs for other applications, then it's going to be able to redirect also the Lina HSS log on the same server. So that's going to make it easier for him to administer his application. So there is a parameter to define in the admin interface, the log syslog, that will enable that to happen. Also, in order to make administrators' life easier, we added the option to expand storage space for the Lina databases. So as you know, on the server side, there is one database per agent that's being backed up. And before, you had to provision the space at the installation, and there was no way to expand that space, which could lead to file system full and things like that. So from now on, you will be able to go in the configurator whenever, at any time after the installation, to add some directories for the Lina databases. So that's what I wanted to share with you today about the new feature of Lina-5.2. So we saw the demo for the agent UI. I explained how we are going to be able now to do the automatic agent update. And also we mentioned the cross-restore token and multi-user confidentiality features. I hope you will enjoy having more notifications and being able to send alerts to your users. And finally, we also talked about the little backup configuration and supervision modification we made to make your life easier.
Questions? Yes, Sylvie, a few questions for you. Let me see. Can you talk about the compatibility with 5.2 and previous versions?
Yes. So with your 5.2 server, you will be able to back up, of course, 5.2 agent, but also 5.1, 5.0, 4.0 even, and even 3.4 agent. They will all be compatible with the 5.2 server. So you can upgrade your server ahead of time and only upgrade your agent little by little.
Okay, thanks very much. Question from Alex about the browser compatibility. Can you tell us which browsers that you can use with Lina, please?
Sure. So just to mention the new HTML5 interface for the agent is we have embedded a little application called Electron to visualize the content. So you don't actually have to have a browser open to see that. But otherwise, all the interfaces, admin interface and web interfaces are compatible with all the major up-to-date browser on the market, such as Chrome, Safari, Firefox, Edge.
Okay, fantastic, thanks. Regarding emails, one of the questions says, can you use several addresses?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Both on the agent side or on the admin side, you can add as many email as you want. Obviously, you're not going to have tons of email for one single agent, but you can have a few. And also, when you declare the recipient for the notification on the admin side, you can also add several emails.
Okay. Maybe one last question I can see here. The auto update, because obviously with Lina, often people have hundreds of agents, and to update each agent, are you obliged to update the agents or not?
So, well, the new feature will allow the admin to push, if he wants to, obviously, the new update to all the agents without the agent having to do anything. So okay. That's the real new. It will be easier for the admin to make sure that everyone has the version he wants on their machine.
Okay, fabulous, very useful. I think we've just about run out of questions, and remind you obviously that we'll leave the session open for a few more minutes. If you do have any questions, or you can obviously contact Damien and Sylvie on their email addresses. And we do have the poll as well. If you have a few seconds just to answer a couple of our quick questions there on the poll, that's always very useful for us to get some of your feedback. And so I'd like to thank everyone for being here today. Thanks to Sylvie, thanks to Damien for your excellent presentation and demonstration.
Thank you for attending, everyone.
And a reminder that next week we have more sessions. So because we have 3 products here at Atempo, Lina, Tina, and Miria. And by quirk of coincidence, they're all coming out with new versions, new major versions, more or less at the same time. So next week we have Tina, and the week after that we have Miria. So go on to the Atempo website, and you can join any of those sessions next week and the week after. So thanks once again. Hope it's been useful, and speak to you soon. In the meantime, stay safe and all the best. Bye-bye.
Goodbye. Bye.